how would your own psalm look like? Would it contain perhaps aspects of your personal spiritual journey in this time of Lent? Writing your own psalm. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to read several biblical texts with different communities in Colombia. That was part of a process of reflecting with communities what it meant to think about reconciliation in a highly divided society. Since the goal of this process was to enable people to make connections between their reality, the biblical text, and their praxis, their actions in that space, we were looking for exercises that created bridges or help create in a very sort of created atmosphere that could nurture these kind of connections. One of the proposed initiatives was to write a personal version of a song, an idea that actually came from a Dutch colleague. The exercise was the following. After we had read Psalm 103 with the community, then we'd ask the participants to write their own version of the psalm. So they had this reference of Psalm 103, and now they were sort of challenged to write their own version. Once they had composed their own, they were asked, if they felt like doing so, to share their psalm with the others in the community. The end result was very magnificent. It was really special. It was like having the book of the Psalms, but now the Colombian version. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go back to Colombia and visit some of these communities. One of these communities in particular remember very vividly this exercise of writing their own psalm. I was very curious. What made this exercise so significant that people will remember it after so many years? As we talked about their memories, it became clear to me what was somehow so significant about this exercise of writing their own psalm. It was important because it enabled at least three things for them. First, it allowed people to speak about their context, what they were seeing, whether that was the family relationships or at a national level. Second, it enabled them to communicate how they experienced those realities, how they felt in them. And three, the exercise of writing a psalm enabled them to make these connections between the context, how they perceived or felt around them, with their faith and the relationship with God. And that was very special, very meaningful. Now, if you would consider for a moment doing this exercise yourself, how would your own psalm look like? Would it contain perhaps aspects of your personal spiritual journey in this time of Lent? Would it touch upon family or community relationships? Would it perhaps reflect where you are with your doubts, your faith, and your belief? Would it include challenges, fears, struggles? Or perhaps gratitude and hopefulness that we might feel as we re-engage with social relationships after 2 long years of living in this global pandemic? Or perhaps would it contain some words about the social and political violence we're seeing in the world today? More concretely, will it include some words about what is happening in Ukraine at the moment? Writing your own song. I kept thinking about it. I kept thinking why this experience was so significant. Now that I look back to the experience with communities and I think about my own version, what my own version of a song will look like today, there are different ideas that come to mind as to point to how significant that experience can be, or why it can be so significant. The first idea is how our own faith provides the language and alternatives to articulate and communicate what we are experiencing and what we're seeing today. In the Bible, we find psalms of thanksgiving, of gratitude. We also find psalms of lamentation and expressions of God-forsakenness or feelings of God-forsakenness. Yet we also find psalms where memories are rewritten, new narratives emerge, and hope for the future is nurtured. In other words, biblical texts, and in this particular case, the Psalms, can be examples and provide a language that can help us, you and me, narrate and give meaning to our experiences. Writing a personal psalm can be an exercise to make some space in our own faith for the ambiguities of the realities we're immersed in today, be it these personal realities, community realities, or the global, international phase world we're living in. True, at times, silence is needed. Words are not there yet, or at least we're not ready to share them, to write about them. In those cases, perhaps this exercise of writing a psalm could be more like an open prayer. Second, there's a performative dimension to composing or writing your own psalm. The act of writing, of moving the hand on the paper, has this kind of bodily aspect to it. You make the time, you find the paper and pen, and then you decide carefully to move your hand and start composing your own version. You might scramble, correct yourself, erase some sentences, or start anew. The combination of both this performative element of writing a psalm and being able to go back to your own experiences might enable you for a moment to transcend time and space. Past, present, and future are for a moment combined as you write or as you compose your own version. Your questions, open questions, joys, worries, concerns, struggles, hopes, can all be intermingled. And that is okay too. Third, writing a psalm is far from being a passive experience or exercise. Writing is an action, and a complex one for that matter. One not only gives meaning to experiences as one writes, but also one communicates those experiences to others. In that sense, writing a psalm can release or catalyze energy by offering the possibility to make your own story public, to share and communicate the lows, the wounds that you might have with others. It can be also an experience to share your own healing process with others. Fourth, writing a psalm can be a bridge between the self or yourself and the others. Just as important as personal feelings and thoughts are in composing your own psalm, so might be the cries for justice and peace, denouncing what is wrong with this world, rejecting violence, and dreaming with a different and transformed world, a healed world, if you will. All of this can be part of your own psalm, just as they are part of the psalms we find in the Bible. When I think about this exercise with the communities in Colombia, for me, this was one of the most significant learnings. To see how the lines between the self and the other were transcended. How the personal was deeply connected with the community and with the wider context. And fifth, one thing that caught my attention of writing psalms with people with these different communities was that this exercise was done in community, so to speak. Similarly to the way in which we, Mennonites, believe in our tradition about the importance of reading the Bible in groups, in community, with others, the participants of this exercise of writing their own psalm also experience this in community. Just as we seek to recognize the presence of God's Spirit as we gather to read the Bible and discern about the words of the Bible, and how they call us or appeal to us where we are right now, in a similar way, we could imagine or hope for or to encounter the Spirit's presence as we reenact and write our own versions of the Psalms, and as we do that in community. How would your own psalm will look like? Would it be a prayer, a lament, a call to God for justice and peace in our world? As we walk in this time of Lent and unrest in the world, I would like to invite us to consider this spiritual exercise of writing or composing our own psalms. And even if we feel ready to do so, to share this with others. I hope that we can keep looking for and finding ways in our own faith that can help us to give meaning to and process the complex realities we're living in. And I hope that God walks with us as we seek to keep witnessing to justice and peace in this world.